politics.
Let us take the topic is the great debate. President Barack Obama and Dr. Al-Hadid has already laid out the issue of race, religion, and now, Dr. Al-Hadid, I think if we could talk about politics during this last segment in reference to this great debate. Let's talk about politics of it all.
Yeah, and leading into the political part, I'd like to go back to Mahatma Gandhi. Some of his biographers once said that Gandhi was a saint trying to be a politician. And if you use that as an example, I would say that Obama is a politician trying to be a saint.
Okay.
And you know, politics is a very interesting business. You know, you have all type of people. So in that sense, I think he is doing, you know, an excellent job. Let's look at his campaign. His campaign, I think, spoke to the fact that the nation was divided. You know, people were being polarized. If racism was not above ground, it was certainly underground. And, you know, you had people of religion and getting involved, and it just, America was just becoming so divided. So he was able to come along using pretty much some of Dr. King's language of unity. You know, Dr. King said he had a dream that was deeply rooted in the American dream, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. And so I think Obama is also able to select passages from the Bible and passages from the Constitution. Of course, he's a constitutional lawyer, and he taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago for 10 years while he was serving as state senator. So he's able to you know, combine these things. So what I see is Obama is pushing Dr. King's agenda inside of the legal and the political arena. And that's how I see him in that sense. Now, back to what I was saying, he was very unusual. I think he was able to capture the hearts and imagination of people under 40 years old. And he was also able to tap into the anger that was out there and the disappointment that was out there, you know, and tap into the fact that people didn't have jobs. And so the economy that we were left with from the Bush administration, of course, Bush is now trying to tell historians how to write his narrative based on this new book he has, I got called Decision Points. He's just giving the historians some markers, but I think historians should step back and be very independent as they write this history about Bush. But basically, Obama inherited an economy that was in free fall. A lot of people said, well, why did he come with the stimulus package and why did he bail out the banks? That was already in place because they were bailing out the housing industry under Bush with the TARPs, you know, buying up these toxic assets. Paulson was recommending that. So basically he was continuing a type of Keynesian economics to keep the economy from going into a global depression. So he had to stop the depression before he could deal with the base issues. Now I think he's in a situation at midterm, he's done 2 years, where he's going to have to focus on the core issues, which is the economy and jobs. He felt that getting health care reform was very important, and I salute him for that. And he somehow connected health care reform with getting the economy in place, you know. So now, if he's going to be re-elected, he is going to have to drive down the unemployment, which is at about 10% now, drive down the recession. White America's in a recession, black America's in a depression. And so he's going to have to deal with the core economic issues. Now, whether or not he can do that in 24 months, you know, remains to be seen, especially since he does not have, the Democrats don't have control of the House of Representatives as they had when he got the health care measures. They were controlling the Senate and the House of Representatives. So he's pretty much in the same kind of situation that Bill Clinton was in, with an agenda to improve the quality of life for the average American, improve the quality of life for the American middle class, but not having control of the House of Representatives. Bill Clinton didn't have control of the Senate or the House. Now Obama barely has control of the Senate. So we're now starting to see that he is human. You know, when he was running for president, people thought that he was the Messiah.
Okay.
You know, like he was could walk on water. You know, but at that time he was a poet, and now that he's having to govern, it's a whole different story. It's one thing to campaign and get elected, and it's a totally different animal to deal with getting people to go along with you, making the compromise. You know, politics is the art of the possible. So being a pragmatic idealist, I think that President Obama will be able to at least try to get people to cooperate, because now if the Republicans think that this a bumper crop of new elected officials came because people were voting Republican. No, people were voting because they were fed up with government
they wanted
not getting them jobs.
Improvements in terms of jobs,
Right.
et cetera. And yet
Right.
they feel they're going to sit on their hands in reference to whether or not people get jobs. Yeah,
It was not a mandate for the Republican
That's
Party.
right.
It was a mandate for
jobs.
government
That's right.
to get the job done. And I think the same independents that voted for Obama and the moderates swung to the Republican side as an alternative. Now, the maverick in the whole equation, of course, is the Tea Party. And I see the Tea Party as a third stream, pretty much tapping into the same energy that Obama tapped into when he got elected. And they're starting to see that, yeah, there's some anger out here that we can tap into. People are dissatisfied for various reasons. But you see, we have to make sure that we are not getting into demagoguery, you know, because you always have demagogues who can get people fired up and riled up and that type of thing. So now those people who are in the House of Representatives, they're going to really have to cooperate with President Obama, work with him, because if they continue to be known as the party of no, then they're going to be kicked out in 2 years. Because you can only get elected for 2 years in the House of Representatives.
And especially when you talk about the economy and jobs and et cetera, and then I think one of the great issues now is to whether or not to extend the unemployment compensations for a large number of folks.
Right.
And you can't sit up there and sit on your hands in reference to that when people in Kentucky and people in Ohio and all these people are suffering. And the only thing you can say is that you're not going to cooperate. See, I mean, to me, that seems to be a very, very odd kind of situation that they find themselves in. I mean, it's almost as bad as not having voted for the health care thing and then to come up and talk about getting rid of it. Well, anyway, I don't want to...
Well, you know, the thing is, it seems as though we're revisiting the contract with America that Newt Gingrich started.
That's exactly it.
When Bill Clinton was in power. And, you know, he took it to the point where he actually shut the government down. And I think if they start those kind of antics again, the American people are not going to have any tolerance with that, you know what I mean? But another part of the fact that, of the economy was the fact we were in two wars, a war in Iraq, a war in Afghanistan, plus in a recession. So I think Obama is very wise to say, well, let's bring the troops home so we can save some money. It's costing us a lot of money to finance 2 wars. I can't ever remember a time when America was engaged in 2 wars.
Major wars.
Yeah, major wars, you know what I mean? And even though we have support from NATO and so forth, still, I mean, it's drained a lot of money out of our economy, plus the loss of lives of young people. And then the soldiers who go there and sacrifice when they come back home, they're losing their homes. They don't have a job. Some of them have serious emotional problems, getting divorces. So the kind of toll that it takes on the American family and homes, I mean, it's, you ask the question, is all that worth it, you know?
Very good. And of course, Dr. Al-Hadid, we've got about a minute, 25 seconds before we end this show for today. And have you got any final statements that you'd like to leave us with dealing with the great debate in reference to President Obama?
Well, I think President Obama is going to be obviously the man of the hour. He has a Nobel Peace Prize. He's the first African-American president of the United States. He has a vision that continues Dr. King's vision. So I think the historians will have to say that he is certainly one of the dominant intellects and one of the dominant statespersons of the 21st century.
Very good. And of course, we're getting ready soon to celebrate Dr. King's birthday again, holiday, and I guess you're ready for that too, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
And everybody's ready for that, and everybody that you know, you've gotten. Okay.
Yeah, we have to keep Dr. King's dream alive because he is the alternative to what is not happening in America. He still represents that shining light, that vision where we need to go, that people should be judged not by the color of the skin, but by the content of the character.
I appreciate that.
So character is the most critical things for the American people today.
Very good.
Rooted in scripture as well as American values.
Okay, then let me thank you, and let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you, and good morning.